The most popular 50-inch wide UTV would have to be the Polaris RZR, in particular the Polaris RZR 800. It's had incredible sales and been undisputed up until now. Arctic Cat has blazed a trail of performance with the Wildcat 1000 and Wildcat X, but the sheer width of the big kitty made it hard to ride on many trails, and the price tag kept entry-level riders at bay, meaning the only other option was a Prowler, a very solid utility vehicle, but not in the league of the 50-inch RZR. One of the most on-point comments I've ever heard from any manufacturer was when Arctic Cat's Mark Esla said that they didn't just need to compete with the Polaris RZR, they needed to beat it in every way. Now that's focus. And from that laser-guided focus came the 50-inch wide Wildcat Trail. We gave you a sneak peek at it last year. We now have the full test ride to let you sink your teeth into. And after spending multiple days out riding in Moab, Utah and Gateway, Colorado on the Wildcat Trail, I can tell you this vehicle is precisely what Arctic Cat said it would be. Right up front, what do you notice about the Wildcat Trail? Besides its aggressive stance and good-looking styling, it has half doors. Those are installed at the factory, and no, you don't pay extra for them, not even on the base model. Also included on the base model, Fox nitrogen-charged aluminum rebuildable shocks with threaded preload. This is, in my opinion, one of the biggest differentiating factors between the Trail and the competition. These shocks are premium, but this is a base model. Instead of super low quality steel body shocks with the limited snail cam adjusters, Arctic Cat stepped up and equipped a premium shock. And yes, they ride incredibly well. In fact, I found the high-speed, choppy compliance to be so much better than the competition. The only thing I could compare it to is the bigger 60-inch sport rigs. Having a hugely adjustable threaded spring on all four corners is a big help to settling out the rough chop and also allows you to have a solid stance when blazing the corners. Add front and rear sway bars and the ability to go fast is increased, keeping the Wildcat planted and confident even when the rear end breaks loose and you start steering with the gas pedal. And steer this vehicle with the gas pedal, you can. Arctic Cat didn't want to rate the Wildcat Trail by cc's, and I totally agree, because the power produced from this motor will completely surprise you. Polaris's 800 claims in the neighborhood of 55 horsepower, and when I saw Arctic's spec at 700cc, I figured they'd made a big mistake. But the truth is, this 700 puts out over 60 horsepower. Arctic doesn't give a final number, but seat of the pants says this thing's got all of the mid-60s. Plus, it's a hair lighter and uses a Team Industries rapid response clutch to solidly transfer all that power to the dirt. From the driver's seat, you get the same feeling as the 1000 Wildcat, where you sit down inside of the vehicle instead of perched up on top. And the interior features, they lead the pack too. Shifting the Wildcat's transmission delivers such a buttery smooth feel, you'd question that it actually hooked up. This is the best shifting side-by-side in the industry. Showing you what gear you're in is a very clean digital display and has a huge list of info, from fuel level to RPM, engine temperature, intake temp, and a whole lot more. The steering wheel is adjustable, and more than that, it's a sporty, smaller wheel that has a nice rubber texture and gripped hand bolsters for easier locating 3 and 9 o'clock. And while you may question the lack of power steering even on the XT model, the truth is you do not need it, even with the smaller ratio tight steering wheel. If I have one gripe in the UTV world, it's abusively heavy steering. And when that tends to be the case, a lot of manufacturers will add power steering. In this case, power steering will do very little. The Trail is by far the lightest steering side-by-side I've ever driven, and in no way needs assist. It's confident at high speeds, feels centered and secure, and somehow is incredibly light at low speeds. I don't know what Arctic Cat did, but it's right, it's light, and it works. The Trail that I tested today does have a few accessories like the roof, the light bar, the windshield, and the bumpers. But the truth is, the factory options included are very impressive for this class. The ground clearance is not leading in this class and is 0.9 inches less than the Polaris. However, the Arctic Cat does come factory equipped with a 2-inch hitch receiver, which is so much easier to swap out from your truck than the typical 1.25-inch hitch mount. For me, I'd take the 2-inch receiver, even with the clearance penalty. It's pretty obvious that Arctic Cat had the Polaris RZR in mind when they built this vehicle. And why wouldn't they? Polaris has had a free market and done so well with the RZR platform. But Arctic needed to bring a vehicle to market that hit 99% of its better than you targeting. And that is precisely what they did. Now, if only they could offer it for the same price as the RZR. Oh wait, that's right, it's cheaper.
If you enjoyed this video, post a comment and let us know what you think. Then, click this link to subscribe and that link for more great videos from DirtTrax TV.